Sometimes, okay. Sometimes OBS takes a little bit. We're back. Hello. There's not a lot of intro. Josh is with us here this time. Whoa. Oh. Oh.
Voice.
Oh man. Are you seeing
What?
Discord's like things stutter when you move?
Are you stuttering right now?
I'm
Are
watching
you
like
stuttering?
I'm watching like everyone stutter.
Oh,
Oh jeez.
I'm watching mine. I'm not stuttering. It's actually picking up
Yeah,
my
I think you're the only one stuttering, Michael.
Well, as soon as I turned on, well now I'm not. Now that I got out of full screen, it just didn't
Stop
want that.
stuttering.
It just didn't want me to full screen on our conversation. Apparently,
Am I the only one that uses the Discord app?
No, I use it.
Oh, okay.
if I do it again. Oh, okay. Once I got out of full screen. Oh no, now it's doing. It's fine. We're not gonna stay on this too long. So you're not gonna see my face too long. We're moving on. I'm just gonna jump right into the fact that we actually have a forbidden limited thing that from Konami themselves.
The fact that they talk to us for once.
I know. I remember. I mean, the last time I remember them talking to us is the ban list, like right after Nationals during like 2015.
Was that the one where they justified the hits that they did?
Yeah, that was the last time they did that too. They like said, "Oh, we didn't expect Ritual Beast to be this good" or something like that, and I really took offense to it.
I feel like
took exception to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a specific time, but
Yep, but
oh man,
coming in late August, so pretty much after Worlds and everything, I think is pretty much their justification. I think that's when
I honestly was thinking that was about right. The time that they said made the most sense. You can't fix a format right now if one, you don't have any statistics behind it, really, because we're going into a whole new thing. You'd just be you'd be hitting old things before even the new stuff comes out to see how broken it is. And two, it's like by the time, Worlds and everything ends, you don't have too many events that are going to be firing up immediately. So you start hitting things and people are just going to get a bitter taste in their mouth, I think.
Well, we do have a lot of we're having like a regional season in the summer, unlike normal this year.
Yeah.
Normally we have like a bit of an off season, but there's a ton of regionals firing off during like late summer, early fall, which is weird.
Yeah.
I know that's usually the down period too. So like, when we used to do card reviews and stuff like that on the channel and like had dedicated videos to it, one of the hardest parts or during like hardest things when we were almost like a dedicated card review channel was like the summer months. Like because there was like nothing there was like no new news, and even like you tried to, okay, well maybe I'm not gonna talk about cards, I'll talk about maybe some of stuff at topping, but there was no real like new events and stuff. So summer is usually
It's kind of why the Iron Series came about.
part of it, yeah. Because we started season 1 in like the summer, and then pretty much got it all recorded by I think either September or October. Like we like really grinded it out, and it was a daily upload thing, and it went from like that all the way through till what's it called? Till like February. That's how many episodes we had. So
I remember you guys going ham on that one.
We played every single format that we could. I was hyper fixated on older formats, and Michael was kind of there.
Yep. That's how it was for that one. I don't have a lot to add to it other than their reasoning of we're excited to see everyone's deck building creativity because of info. I don't know. I mean, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is like Stefan and I, where we don't look at OCG in terms of like this is the future, because we have a different card pool and we have a different list in general. So like
we have a different mentality of play too.
Yeah, I do think Fiendsmith is probably still going to be an engine splashed and everything though, and I think that like with that going forward, I think that there isn't going to be as much creativity as the post kind of implies, other than maybe Mimighoul, because I know that some people are hyping it up. I just think the deck's going to be fun, and we'll talk about some of the cards in that later.
The deck looks neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that deck looks.
I'm considering playing it just because it's neat. It looks like it really looks like one of those decks that you can take to locals. I know that sounds hilarious, and you can play against more casual players with it and not feel like you're completely just ruining their day too badly till you play the field spell. But I mean,
I think
most of your casual players have ways to out spells and traps because of the fear of mirror force. So I think at that rate, it's not like the field spell is great, but on a lower powered level, it's not that great because there's a lot more removal for back row in main board in lower power play.
Well, if we're gonna talk about them, because that was pretty smooth transition, I guess we'll just talk about the archetype as a whole, and why I think that this, from a competitive standpoint, like is gonna completely live or die by the field spell, and for the rest of it, it's gonna be like, for like a more casual level, could be in other things, because the Mimighouls are a TCG premier archetype, as it's officially called. We used to call exclusives because they would be exclusive to the TCG for a long time, and now they're called premieres. So
remember Cosmo?
Oh yeah, and Burning Abyss.
Cosmo was great. BA great.
BA was good.
I honestly think, what was it? Burning Abyss, Cosmo, to a lesser extent.
Evil Sword Dolka, great.
Lesser extent, when was the last really, really good TCG exclusive archetype? Because like Goatee's okay.
Do you want to count Spiral?
Well, I wouldn't. So the only reason I'm hesitant to count Spiral is because Spiral was bad until we got the OCG support after they came to the OCG.
Yeah, but it was just the Link 2 that made the deck good, wasn't it?
That and Links in general.
Yeah, like we had everything else already.
Made the deck busted.
Yeah.
But because like that's the main thing. It was also meta over there before it was meta over here. So
yeah.
I'm really hesitant for that one, just for that reason. Same thing with like Subterror and all that, because Subterrors were tearing it up in the OCG at one point, and it was really just closer to Guru control. But Subterrors were doing really well, and it was because they got Guru way before we did. Kaiju's, well, they came out at the same time as Cosmo, so I'm just trying to think, like, if Cosmo was the last really, really good one, because I know, like, Gold Pride was one that had a lot of potential, that got a few regional tops at best and didn't get too much after that. But, like, I'm trying to think that if there was another one, because I honestly think that the competitive side of Burning Abyss and Cosmo, and how dominant those were once when they came over here, or when we got them, really cemented that we're not allowed to have good TCG archetypes, because that's what it really feels like.
You give us a good archetype and we ruin the game.
Dangers. That's the other one.
Dangers.
That was
they allowed FTKs to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Oh god, yeah, no. Dangers definitely ruined a lot of stuff.
Remember Mothman?
Woo!
And now they're fine.
Yeah, Dangers.
Yeah, now they're balanced. Like 8 years later.
Dangers. I guess they didn't enable, but they just allowed the FTKs to be better. They extended them.
They
I drew a terrible hand. Better reveal a danger and hope I can get a better hand.
They were just upstart goblins with extra steps.
They could summon things.
Yeah.
It's especially in Dark Worlds, because like dangers, when they mixed the dangers into the Dark Worlds, and with old Firewall's errata, you got the FTKs, and then they took away the FTK by banning Firewall, and then we got the Gumblar loops and stuff like that.
Loops.
So like,
you like the loops, brother?
So it was just a thing. As far as mimighouls though, I know that and Ashen and all of them, TCG exclusives, Premier archetypes have this thing where the first wave of support is really, really good, and then the subsequent ones, like the second wave, because we only get 2 waves now, is always makes it fall flat on its face. But out of all the cards, I like every single one of the main deck monsters. I think they all do something very, very good. The problem is, I honestly hope we get more Mimic, like more monsters that do what the theme wants. But I don't know where we go from here, because we got one that's a board wipe, we got one that gives card advantage and takes cards from opponent's hands, and we got one that special summons cards to our field when we make our opponent flip them. So I'm just like, I don't know where they go from here, but that's just...
Rip out the extra deck.
They probably will. That's what happened with Ashen, except for they made them fusion.
Like extra deck is probably where it goes.
Rip cards out of the extra deck.
But talking about that, we're still on the same topic of the little Mimic bros. And you know how many posts I see in like the judge groups and stuff? It's like, well, what happens if they get flipped outside the main phase? You don't get the effect.
Yep.
It clearly says that on the card. I don't get what people aren't understanding about these.
Hey, for everyone listening, reading the card does in fact explain the card.
Yeah. One of the funniest things.
Unless you're reading simultaneous equation cannons, in which case.
Oh god, don't even.
It was really funny that someone in Domain wanted to make them, and I was like, I'm just gonna point this out here. You can make them if you want, but your opponent gets to choose which opponent you gets the benefit from them flipping up, and which opponent they give them to. They don't have to give them back to you and do all that. So just keep that in mind and everything. If you want to play them, go for it. And they're like, these got way worse. Like, I don't think these cards are good in Domain. And I was like, yeah. 1-on-1, they're pretty good. Like Mimighoul Archfiend, which is a level 1 0 attack, 1900 defense, that flips up. If it's flipped during the main phase, your opponent draws a card, which is gonna be in reference to, it's in reference to controller, and then you send one card. So the controller's opponent draws a card. Then the controller sends a card from the deck, from their hand to the graveyard, and then you give it to your opponent as this card. And the Mimighouls have the ability to summon themselves face down on the opponent's field. Because the idea with these are that they're mimics from like RPGs and stuff like that, and fantasy stuff, where you give them a treasure chest and they flip up, and something bad happens. So, with Mimighoul Archfiend, for example, if you give it to your opponent and they have to flip it face up, you would get to draw the card because you, the owner of the this Archfiend, not the controller, draws the card. The person who controls it, which is has to send, and then they give it back to you. In a multiplayer format like Domain, let's say you're player A, you give this to player B, then player B can make player C draw the card and give it to player D. So,
I thought we weren't talking about Domain anymore.
No, I said we're not going to do a full episode on Domain. There's a difference.
I know.
Again.
Can we just link everything to Domain in this episode?
But I think all the cards in here have an actual spot in the deck, and not just there's only so many reason and everything. Because Archfiend is like it rips a card, it gives you advantage, and if it's normal or specialed, you can flip something. You can flip a face down to face up, so you can give your opponent monster and force them to activate stuff. If you're going first, Cerberus special summons cards and all that. Cerberus is probably the worst one. Like if all of them and all that, but Cerberus protects your face up spell cards, so it can protect your field spell. They can't target them. Dragon's a board wipe, which is very good, and on summon adds a Gimmighoul spell or trap. And then Master on normal adds any monster except for itself. And then during the opponent's phase, you change a face down to face up, so you could force the effects and stuff like that. So all these cards, except for like kind of have a place. Cerberus is arguably being the weakest one. But I even think their spell and trap cards are very good too. Mimighouls Dungeon,
crazy.
Yeah, the field spell. The competitive viability is. Have you drawn this field spell? No, you're probably gonna lose. So that is my honest opinion on this, because this field spell does everything for this archetype. Mimighouls, they don't have
Planet Pathfinder.
Yeah,
They don't have a way to get the field spell themselves.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, you just normal summon dragon instead of using its effect to summon onto your opponent's turn. So normal summon dragon, get the field spell because it's a Mimighoul spell or trap. But yeah, so the Mimighoul field spell, monsters, Mimighoul monsters that were not normal or special summoned this turn gain attack equal to their original defense. Helps with their low attack, so you can actually go for game. Any player that controls a face down monster cannot normal summon monsters. That can shut down a lot of decks, or can shut down some plays and certain play lines and stuff like that. Even against Snake Eyes, that can shut down certain play lines and stuff like that. Because sometimes they get hands where normal summon Ash has to be their starter, and that's not ideal. But even if they have that, they cannot declare attacks with monsters that were special summoned this turn. So as long as they control those monsters, they can't even attack and all that. So you're not worried about getting OTK'd. And it also adds any Mimighoul monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So it does like everything you want for the deck. Gives them attack pressure. Gives them a way to force your opponent to want to flip them and everything, just to get them off their field. Otherwise, you clogged up their field and made it so they can't attack with their special summon monsters. And it gets you card advantage. It's like the deck is gonna live or die by this card, for sure. Just like the spell card, the super rare Mimighoul Maker. I think that this card, maybe it's not a 3 of, but I think you still play this card. You reveal 2 flip monsters, and then from your deck, with different names from your deck, your opponent randomly picks one to special summon their field, and then you add the other one. Then you special summon a Mimighoul from your hand. So with this card, the idea would be like activate it. If they don't have Ash or anything, they randomly pick one. Let's say you pick Master, and you pick I think actually you can't pick Master. Master's not a flip monster. I think it's like the only one that's not. Yeah, Master's not a flip. Okay. But you pick like Master, or you pick Cerberus and Dragon, let's say, right? If they get Cerberus and then you add Dragon.
Guard dog.
Huh?
Give your opponent guard dog. He does any flips.
Oh, true. Yeah, good point.
You give your opponent just about any flip monster.
Yeah,
Fiber Jar. You could put the power in their hands if it wasn't banned.
You can put Cyber Jar. Cyber Jar's not banned.
Morphine Jar.
Yeah, Morphine Jar is not banned either.
I feel like Mimighoul Maker though is gonna see play in like a lot of weird jank decks. Maybe we'll see.
What's the big one? Pot of the Forbidden.
Yeah.
You do that one.
Oh, but you'd give that to them, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but you just it's random. So hopefully you get it.
Yeah, but then it's in your hand and everything.
Figure it out.
It's in your hand, and
Mimigal.
I guess you get, what was that one deck that did flip monsters?
Prediction Princess?
Stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Prediction Princess Mimighouls, man.
That's the wave. It's the goo.
Also, I guess they have a trap card that lets you special summon one from deck and your deck.
Yeah.
In face down on your opponent's field or face up on yours. So, no, like you can trigger their effects like that too, and then it also like books stuff and it can bounce the Mimighouls you control to reset them on your opponent's field if you want. Stuff like that. It does a lot of things. Pretty cool. I think we talked about enough. I'm really interested in trying the deck and everything, but
Book of Eclipse, opponent flips, summons it, finally like, no, back to face down.
Well, when they flip summon it, you get it. You don't want it to flip face down on your field.
Daruma Karma Cannon also goes kind of crazy with the field spell, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. That's crazy.
You put things face down.
Oh man, that's
they
nuts.
Can't be turned back face up.
Yeah.
Also, that field spell, we're just playing a ninjas now, by the way.
Like,
I can see it.
I like it because things like Daruma Karma Cannon is really good trap card design, because the card, nothing about the card is unfair. It's not anything ridiculous. It doesn't floodgate the opponent unless the opponent's stupid enough to fill up all their zones with monsters that can be set face down. You just go flip. Now you're not doing anything.
You know, it's even funnier.
I love the card. It's 10 out of 10 the direction they should go with trap cards.
You know what's even funnier about Daruma Karma Cannon in this, right? If you have in that scenario, what you could do is play Metaverse, since Metaverse is at 3 now. So what you do is like you could have Karma Cannon, Metaverse, and maybe some Paleos, right? And everything, and then you flip Karma Cannon, chain Metaverse, activate Mimical Dungeon from deck.
Yep.
Oh Jesus!
Are we doing like Labyrinth Mimighoul now?
You could, I guess.
You could.
I mean,
but
shit.
If you try to play a pure Mimighoul deck, you can actually play that new trap card that's like the trap card version of Ash Blossom that locks you out of fire, water, and dark type monsters or something. Like it locks you out of their effects if you use it from your hand, because all the Mimighouls are earths. But we'll have to wait and see, because next wave of support they'll probably get darks for some reason. But
I know I'm definitely going to be trying that field spell in ninjas, because there's a way of just booking 2 monsters permanently in that deck, so we're going to give it a shot.
Okay.
Start tribute summoning your things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, speaking of trap card that can activate from hand and locks you out of attribute, did you see that we got another one coming out in Rage of the Abyss?
Nope.
The normal trap.
No one posted it to the group and said, "Hey, look at this."
Actually, I posted it, and then Trevor posted it, and then Trevor posted the link right afterwards, and I went, "Trevor, please." It's literally right there.
Why I didn't read it.
But
I hit myself a little.
But it's a normal trap called Dominus Impulse. I'll read it to you, Stefan. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. If your opponent controls a card, you can activate this card from your hand. When your opponent, when a card or effect that is activated that includes the an effect that special summons a monster or monsters, negate that effect. Then, if you have a trap in your graveyard, destroy that card. If you activate this card, you cannot activate the effects of light, earth, and wind monsters for the rest of this duel. So, you can play it in Paleos, I guess.
Wait, what does it do again? I kind of... What?
Solemn Warning, but it's a hand trap, and it's not a counter trap. It's a normal trap, Solemn Warning, that you can use from hand, and it locks you out of light, earth, and wind monsters. Go.
That's not awful. Yeah, that's playable.
Broken.
I think it's good and exactly like
we
Paleo.
could trap trick it out too if we had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
open it in hand, fire it off to, like, if they activate emergency teleport, even, like, or their deck's version of emergency teleport, I should say, because everyone gets one now, is you'd be like, bam, got him. It only destroys a card if you have a trap in your graveyard, but Paleos are almost always have a trap in your graveyard unless you're going first. But unless you're going second, but even then you can like imperm and then get a trap in the graveyard and then do this. It also doesn't say, and I guess a very important clarification, you can have cards on the field and still use this from your hand, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of listening to right there. I'm like, wait.
It's the same as the first one, right?
Yeah. So the only thing that matters is that your opponent controls a card, which most cards that summon are gonna have that, and most that don't and most cards that
most that don't, their end goal is to summon something so you can hit it.
Well, so like let's say tier, right? If you use like let's say King of the Swamp, add Poly, Foolish Burial, send a tier, it's not going to hit that tier name. It can't touch that tier name, at least from the hand going second, because there's no card on the field that's activating, as long as there's nothing else. So the tiers are going to fuse into Rukalos. But, like, in that scenario. But, like, in this case of, like, any other thing, you're playing against Branded, you're going second and everything against Branded, you don't have Ash Blossom, but you have this for whatever reason in your hand, they activate Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion's on the field on activation, you can use it on this, stuff like that. It also negates the effect, not the activation of the card, and that is better for certain things. So, like...
Yeah, because you can't activate another copy if you haven't negated the activation.
Yeah. So, it's only good in decks that aren't running Lights, Earths, or Winds, but I'm honestly thinking that there's not a ton of decks that are running those attributes at the moment. Like, even Light... I mean, I guess that you can't play, like, the Fiendsmith engine with it, but, like...
Yeah, Fiendsmith is out.
Yeah. It's okay, it'll get banned in, like, 6 months anyways.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
You know what else is out? Is the new Mulchummy, and everything.
I want to talk about it so bad.
Okay.
He's been waiting so long to talk about it.
Stupid bird.
It's a level 4 winged beast effect monster with 100 attack and 600 defense. You can only use one other Mulchummy monster effect the turn you activate this card. If you control no cards, quick effect, you discard this card, apply these effects. Each time your opponent special summons a monster or monsters from the deck and or extra deck, immediately draw a card. Once during the end phase, if the number of cards in your hand is more than the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6, you must randomly shuffle cards in your hand. So the number in your hand equals the number of your opponent controls plus 6. So, what does... I know Josh is really excited to talk about it, but I want to explain what the condition means and what that effect actually means, in case anyone's confused. First one, the condition only means you can use specifically another Mulchummy monster effect. You're still free to use Ash, Nib, Droll, and all that on your opponent. It just means that you can't use another, like, one after that. Second, yes, you can activate 2 of this card in one go. Keep that in mind. Third, the last effect. If your opponent has 1 card on field, and you have 7 cards in hand, you do not shuffle. If your opponent has, because that's 1 plus 6. If your opponent has 5 cards on the field total, then you can have 11 cards in your hand and still not shuffle. If your opponent has, like, for some reason, has like 8 cards on field, including their spells and trap cards, you can have up to 14 cards and still not shuffle. That's how that works. I just figured I'd clarify it, because I've seen a lot of people confused about that. Last effect, and how the first effect.
Josh is off to the races.
This continues my theory that birds are bad for Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to say it.
I mean,
we flew,
time.
Featherstorm, Fucho, this thing. Come on.
Don't forget the bird girls. Bird up.
Bird girls. Cyber Harpy Lady was just bad for Duel Links. Like
Lyra Lusks is what Stefan was talking about. They were
conspiracy theory. True.
Castel Castel pretty much power crept almost every rank 4.
Did you know with Castel, because he was so accessible during a format, that it was correct to run Icarus attack even if you didn't play main boarded Wing Beast?
Yep.
Because you just make Castel remove something and then you just Icarus attack away whatever else is going to stop you.
You know, it's funny.
That was a wild time.
You know, barrier statue. Don't forget.
Yeah,
birds are terrible.
You want to know what's even funnier about Castel and Harpy's Featherstorm is Featherstorm existed for a very long time, and no one thought to play Castel and Featherstorm in the same deck outside of like Harpies exactly. I'll just let that sink in there.
Yeah.
Featherstorm came out either around or before Zoo format.
Featherstorm was out after Zoo format, I thought. No, it was Duelist Saga. It was during Zoo format.
Because I remember playing it during Links, during literally when we had Decode Talker and we were excited and Proxy, and we had to play Proxy Dragon and stuff.
I remember when we were excited for Proxy Dragon.
Dude, Proxy Dragon broke the game.
I remember when Land for Incus was announced and everyone popped off.
Oh yeah, just because it had no effect. It's literally just because of the Link arrows, and it was any 2 monsters. Oh man, those were wild times.
Look, we can play.
It's Paper Airplane.
Listen, I understand though. All right, birds are not good for Yu-Gi-Oh. As someone who goes by the Winter Phoenix, I understand that I am not online. I understand that I am not good for the game either. It's
okay. No, you're bullshit at the game, and you know it. I have played every single deck against tier almost, and it's just like, this is BS. And I've played normal decks against you, and it's like, this is BS.
You play decks that literally like open macro and die-fi on me gate turn 1, and you still lose, and just think this is BS.
And just play the mirror. Just play the tier mirror. It's fine.
I mean,
I haven't gotten to that point.
I'd be down for it, but
I would lose. He has so much more experience with tier. I went with Sprite. I went with the deck I knew how to play.
To be fair, I'm going to Sacramento with Sprite, so you know.
Yeah.
Don't have much else directly to talk about. So I guess we could talk about just how have you guys been?
Alive.
Here.
Yeah.
I'm slaving away at the editing mines.
You had it like once a week for like, I mean, granted it's like for like 6 hours at a time, but usually like once a week. But
I mean,
that's
awful.
I am currently trying to bulk edit, so I don't have to worry about editing right before I leave for the YCS next month. So,
every time I try to full screen our Discord call, my things start stuttering. But yeah, I guess Josh and I went to the sneak peek yesterday. I guess we could talk about that too.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Tell me.
I got the rabbit. I got the rabbit link.
I think I got third. Because I'm pretty sure like due to tiebreakers I got third. But yeah, because
you should have gotten first place. How did you lose?
I ran into one of the other situations where Trident Dragon was like the only thing that was gonna actually win me that turn. That and I didn't have the field spell. If I had the field spell, I actually would have done it because I would have popped it and then doubled my attack. It just pushed out that last 900 points of damage game 3. But that was pretty much it. But I played Tenpai, and it was and I won every game pretty decidedly, except for Jesse. I kind of fought with, and it was pretty. I struggled a little bit, but I got there. And then Robert, Robert beat me game 1. I beat him game 2, and then he beat me game 3. But because I didn't have Trident Dragon, otherwise it would have just been like a wash. Trident Dragon, I understand. Like when I played at the regionals, it came up like twice, and here it came up once. I've realized that like yes, it is needed, but it's not as needed. It's not needed usually. It's needed in very like specific situations. So
it gets you those wins that normally you wouldn't have, which actually produce more results. It tilts that win percentage up by at least 1%.
Yeah,
it's Stefan.
Which, if it matters,
is Stefan froze for you, Josh?
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm having all kinds of technical issues then.
The thing is a you thing.
Yeah.
But
poor computer.
My experience wasn't quite that extravagant. So no, I play. Hold on. So I gotta preface a little backstory. So before the event even started, I had to run out to the nearby McDonald's to go get my girlfriend some food.
Did you?
And I was almost late for round 1, and I got myself some food, right? But before round 1 started, John had like one of the little white forest cards, one of the little monsters, and he said, "I'll trade you this for your food that you got." And it was like $8 at McDonald's, and I said, "Okay, here you go." So, and that card I think was like $40-$50 right now. So I was like, "Damn, I'll take that deal." So round 1, what's up?
Well, now Stefan is like, it's not showing his screen at all on me. So
come back to us. He's here for me.
Hold on. There we go.
You just have to refresh.
Yeah. But yeah, you're telling the story about how freaking John was like.
So John basically was like, "I'll give you that if you give me that food, I'll give you this card." And I was like, "Okay, bet." So I went into round 1 with on an empty stomach, playing Runic Ice Barrier. I love that deck; it's a lot of fun. But I was just throwing games 1 and 2 because I was just so hungry.
What about Runic Sprite?
I didn't have it together.
So, Jesse.
So yeah, after round 1, I dropped and judged the rest of the event. And it was actually a good call that I did that because I had quite a few judge calls. So
I'm always on call. Tell them they're idiots.
Well, we can't do that one.
So, from my experience, Jesse drove me. So Jesse got my sneak peek packs. He drove me and he paid for my entry fee, so that was part of it. I pulled out of my sets of packs. I pulled the like actual one because the one that John got you was like $25 apparently. It's the one that summons from hand and adds. So it's like
that's right.
The one that I pulled for Jesse is like the $50 one, the mini Diabell star.
I got them mixed up, yeah.
And then John bought some packs or whatever, got some packs, and was like, "Who has the best luck?" I was like, "I do." And I opened up and I pulled I pulled another like 50, like one of the more expensive cards for him too. And he's like, I was like, "I told you, I'm luck incarnate. That's just how it works."
Rabbit.
And I pulled the rabbit for out of Josh's thing, or out of John's packs. And then my last pack, I'm gonna open up a Fiendsmith card, and I opened up one. It wasn't one of the expensive ones, but I opened up one, which is really funny. As the super. So I'm just luck incarnate, what can I say?
Yeah, you're just too lucky.
I know. Better to be
Not
lucky.
me.
Good.
I got nothing out of my entry pack.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I was really hoping to win so I could have at least the mat, because first place got the sneak peek mat and then the promo of the Ankh that shows the 5 pieces of Exodia to summon the fusion. But yeah, and all that, but I didn't get anything because I got second. Or I got third, I think, because I got third. Second place got the promo too, I'm pretty sure, and I think AJ's tiebreakers beat mine, even though the only person I lost to was Robert, so, which was undefeated. I don't know how it works. I'm not gonna pretend I know how it works, but that's just how.
No, it's so first place gets the mat and the promo, and then the other mat and the other promo are each separately raffled away.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got second in my heart then.
I did get a booster box while I was there. I did pull a quarter century Arciela.
Nice.
Not bad.
That's the one that searches. That's like the one that actually searches for the monsters, right? Any light spellcaster.
Yeah, I'm gonna search Effect Veiler with it.
Not the first card that searches Effect Veiler either. In Blue Eyes, Master with Eyes of Blue can search Effect Veiler, because that's the reason why Blue Eyes ran it back in the days, because it searched Effect, because it was searchable. Just like that one Fabled card that if it's discarded you can destroy a face-up card. The like cat. The only reason Fiendsmith, I'm convinced, the only reason Fiendsmith doesn't play that card is because it's one of the Fables that's a beast. Like, I think that it would be correct otherwise, but it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, Fabled cards are worth something. Some of them are, right?
Yeah, Lurie is. How do you guys feel about Infinite Forbidden? Because I don't think it's Agov like people are saying. I don't think, because people are like, it's the next Agov or Age of Overlord and everything, and I don't think that's true. I don't think Age of Overlord is as good as people think it is, but that's just me. So, like, because Age of Overlord gave us some good cards. Okay, it gave us Horus, the whole Horus engine. It gave us what was it? It gave us the
start of Snake Eye.
The start of Snake Eye. And it gave us SP Little Knight.
Yeah.
That's why people credit it as good as it is. I don't know, because I remember when I looked at that set, I went, this doesn't feel as impactful of a set as Power of the Elements did, or definitely not Duelist Alliance. Power of the Elements, to me, when you look at the cards like individually of Power of the Elements, it really feels like almost all the cards individually in specifically Power of the Elements, if they're not broken now, they will be like sometime in the future. Even like the random commons, just like a lot of the cards from Duelist Alliance ended up being. Like Lancia didn't see a lot of play at first, but Lancia ended up seeing like being a top side deck play. Recover didn't see a ton of play. I mean, it saw a small fringe amount when all the other tuners got banned and Halka Fibrax was still around. But Despot 001 was in that set.
Dude, Despot's crazy.
And 001 was using all kinds of Hulk and what's it called? Phantom Beast, the Blink 3 Phantom Beast combo. Auroradon combos. And like you look at that set, Resonance Insects in that set, and then that while there isn't like a super good archetype, I mean B Troopers are okay, but they're not like, super broken or anything.
Were people trying to hype up the B Troopers, or was just people love the concept of it?
Some people tried to hype it up. The
problem B Troopers were solid. in their first wave.
Yeah, they just don't. But that's another TCG exclusive. They were good in their first wave, and their second wave didn't do anything.
They did the Red Eyes thing to it, where they just gave it an identity crisis.
Oh.
Because they were solid like main deck, just generic insect support, and then they were like, let's give you a fusion.
I get it now. Our TCG exclusives are like that because a lot of us have identity crises, and they're like, why don't your imaginary land you go to not think about that have identity crises now?
Because the first wave also had like was the first wave the one with the link monsters too. So it was like
yeah.
So the first wave had the link monsters and was like actually had like a somewhat competent strategy. It just was like missing
the link monsters, Sting Lancer, Scale Bomber, and the level 3 that just summoned another copy of itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So it literally was all the cards that you already play in the deck, and then they're like, we'll give them a bad fusion thing.
Why do they give everything fusions?
Because you boomers identify with fusions.
Wait. Is it so that like the really people who only like old school Yu-Gi-Oh will try and pick up a deck because it has something they're familiar with?
That's literally what I just said.
Yeah. It's for the boomers.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. We don't need more fusions in everything.
Ninjas did it right. They're a contact fusion.
Like decks that like are built around having fusions and stuff, like branded, makes sense to me. That's a great concept, fun deck. But you have these decks that have already these established guideline things. It's like, yeah, we do links, we do this fusion, and you're just like, but that just conflicts with everything, doesn't it?
I feel like it's only okay if it's a contact fusion.
Well, I mean, that's not even an official term, but we're not going to go there.
Contact, you know what I mean, though.
I do know what you mean, and that's
you know what I mean. Shut up! Don't get technical with me.
The one term that I use too is contact fusion.
I know it is. We don't say we don't say the F word here.
Mm-hmm. And the defense of contact fusion, it was used in the anime itself too.
Yeah, and I'm going to contact you.
Yeah.
So, but I think contact fusing is fine if that's not what you're like. I guess, but fusing archetypes are fine. I honestly think
give some archetype a fusion, make it a contact. If you're not going to make it a contact, don't bother.
I think that was part of the issue with the with Red Eyes, is that like, and it's like when this whole set came out with Red Eyes and stuff like that, it had like XE, it had like Flare Metal, and then it also had like the fusion stuff, and it was already all over the place.
Listen, if
did he cut out for you two?
What?
You said if, and then you just stopped.
Oh. Well, if Red Eyes Fusion didn't have that stipulation on it, where you couldn't summon anything else, it would have been fine.
Honestly, this is what I thought they were gonna do with it, with Red Eyes and stuff like that. Is so when the Dark Magician got their its first like wave of support or whatever, and all that, after to become like a full-fledged like deck and stuff like that, they came out. They had like NXEs, and I honestly thought, and then for Blue Eyes, they came out with synchro. It had synchros, and so I was like, okay, Dark Magic's gonna be an XE's deck. Blue Eye's gonna be a synchro deck. Red Eye Fusion was one of the first fusion spells, fusion cards revealed for that, and I went, Red Eye's gonna be a fusion deck. That makes sense. They all have their own individual things and stuff like that. Then it just went, Red Eye's like, oh, it's fusion and Gemini and a little bit of XEs, and our fusion spells can't even summon the first like big fusion that we got from it without playing like OG Summon Skull and everything, because the other one isn't a normal fiend or whatever. the other Gemini unless it's on the field. So it was like they really just don't like red eyes.
They don't.
They don't.
And Blue Eyes, they gave Blue Eyes the stupid dark magician trap. Basically, I'm sitting there going, "What are you doing?"
Remember when we got equips for red eyes?
Yeah, I do. I am a firm believer that trap card. I've seen Blue Eyes players say we were already playing the trap card. I'm like, why though? Because I don't think I didn't think it was worth playing in actual
Blue Eyes card.
Yeah,
and I don't think Blue Eyes is worth playing.
You know what? Fair enough.
Whoa.
Fair enough. That deck is pretty bad.
Calm down. As the best Blue Eyes player.
Fair enough. The deck's pretty bad. But
as the best Blue Eyes player in the room, even though I'm the only one in my apartment.
I think if you were gonna play
any circumstance,
I think if you were gonna play Blue Eyes, before that there was no real reason to add it other than like the cards that got shown from the structure deck. The first 4 cards out of 8, if they're getting 8 new support cards for that structure deck and everything.
With that trap card, all I saw was it had to have been well, Dark Magician has it. Why can't Blue Eyes have it too? And they're like, yeah, you're right. Blue Eyes needs this card too.
I remember when you first read it, when you ran into one of your many Blue Eyes mirror matches on your Blue Eyes to the top thing, and you went, why aren't we playing this card? I went, Stefan, have you ever needed this card? You went, no, I've always just OTK'd them. I went, there you go. You're an OTK deck. Why do we need a trap card?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I was reading it and it's like, okay. Why aren't we playing it? OTK. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. They put out these terrible...
We don't have time for trap cards here.
Josh, you don't get it. I have faced every single Blue Eyes player basically that watches
I get it. You love trap.
That was a good time for it to cut out.
Yeah. Whoa, great timing, buddy. No, I beat a lot. I was just streaming Blue Eyes to the top, and Blue Eyes players just kept coming in and like, "Oh, I'll challenge you with my build," and I'd beat them, and they'd be like, "Oh, my build's better than yours," and another person would show up, and it was a cycle. It was fun.
I summoned
people with the deck.
One of the opponents summoned 2 Chaos Maxes. What does your deck do without this? And then he played, or I think Stefan asked me, because I think this was like the first time that it really came in handy, was, oh no, what do I do? How do I out these Chaos Maxes? And I was like, read the twin-headed fusion that I threw into your deck. And he goes, oh! And I was like, yeah.
We out it.
That thing's kind of cracked.
Lose
the best Blue Eyes card. It is the true boss monster of the deck.
I refuse. I don't care the new Blue Eyes support coming out unless it's absolutely like crazy. Like I know that people have already shown like 1 or 2 card combos where you like make a full board and stuff like that has like 3 or 4 negates that will all die if you can resolve just destroying their trap card. But and everything, but like but I'm sitting here like I don't care. That new extra deck stuff has to be crazy for me not to play that card, because that card is actually nuts. And
Twin Burst is crazy.
Twin Burst is like secretly like really good, and it outs like anything that you could ever want, unless something's unaffected by everything.
I've never seen a Blue Eyes player play it before I did, and I was just sitting here going, why don't they? Like, I've put in so many Blue Eyes players in positions where they could have just made that and outed it, and they didn't make it. And I'm just sitting here going, huh, I could have lost so many games if they just played this.
Well, the thing about Blue Eyes players is that they're not very good.
No. One of the reasons I played it and I like remembered it is because Jared played it at like one time. And I read it like 2 or 3 times and went, there are enough cards that this thing outs that I should have it because in the extra deck as like a one of. Because otherwise, like, you need to play like kaijus and stuff like that, and it feels like you actually need to play like all these really weird one-ups and stuff like that to like play things. But
one-ups are fun.
We've rambled. It's almost been an hour. I feel like this is a good stopping place. So, if it is your birthday today, happy birthday. Watch our Iron series and everything, because Josh is our editor and does a very good job at it. And the videos that, you know, he does edit.
Big.
And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.